What's up, everybody? So I have a long weekend this weekend. There's a holiday on Monday, so I'm on my way to visit some family, hang out, relax, maybe get some hot noodles. Who knows? I wanted to tell you about a place that I went to last night called Tenichi Ramen. It was really, really good. Definitely not #1 on my list, but still worth mentioning. If you like garlic ramen, or if you just like garlic flavor anything in general, this is the spot for you. It was a really strong garlicky flavored ramen. I don't know if every bowl is like that, but mine specifically was super powerful garlic flavor. I got the miso chashu ramen, and it was supposed to be spicy. I ended up having to add more spice, of course, to bring it up to my like normal level, but it was still really good. Mine was really good. I was enjoying it. I really did enjoy it. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly where the place was. I know it was in Brooklyn-ish area, maybe Astoria. In any case, by the time this video gets uploaded to YouTube, I'll have the Google Maps screenshot and I'll put it up here. So again, if you really like garlic flavored ramen, check this place out. It's really good.
Send me to my grave.
Let me tell you about this little lady in my life.
Send me to my grave.
Relationship. Since neither of us ever really agreed on
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
But I love her though. And I think she
I
loves
gotta
me.
speak me.
But you know how relationships go. Now check it out now.
I love you.
Tenichi Ramen. I ordered the spicy miso chashu ramen. Was really good. The broth was a really strong garlicky flavor. I say it's probably the strongest garlic flavor ramen I've ever had. It's pretty interesting actually. If you don't like garlic, this is not the bowl for you. It's overpowering a little bit. It was a medium richness broth, so it wasn't super thick, it wasn't thin, but you could tell they actually took a good amount of time to make their broth. It wasn't really spicy, even though it said on the menu, or it had a little, logo stating that it was a spicy dish. It really wasn't spicy, but that's pretty customary from what I found here, is that even though it says it's spicy, it's really a little bit tame. It was still enjoyable though. What they did have was an extra cup of spice on a table right next to ours, so when I asked for extra spice, the waitress just informed me that I could add spice myself if I wanted to. I didn't go crazy with it though, because I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it that night. I just added a couple spoonfuls to get some kick, and that was good enough for me. The chashu was delicious. It was roasty, it was barbecuey, it was good flavor. I would say it had a good amount of fat on it, but it was still delicious. I enjoyed it. The noodles were kind of thin actually. They didn't really get coated with the flavor of the broth. They just kind of had their own plain noodly flavor. They weren't terrible, but they weren't outstanding either.
I can't really put my finger on it. No. Yeah. It's different. It's definitely not the typical. It's not the typical bowl.
The other toppings were so-so. They were, you know, basically right smack dab in the middle. They weren't something that I was going to write home about, but they weren't terrible either. The overall vibe of this restaurant was pretty chill. It was a little dim, it was a little dark in there, at least where we were sitting. The kitchen was off to my right. It was kind of a weird lighting situation where the super bright kitchen spilled into this dimly lit restaurant. So, you know, on this side, when I turn to my left, you see just the bright light from the kitchen reflecting off of people and things. And then if I turn to the right, all I see is, you know, a silhouette of people sitting at the table to my right. It's kind of weird, but whatever. The food was good. Right now, let's do a slurp score and find out exactly how this restaurant stacks up against the others. Check it out.
Okay, here we go with the slurp score for Tenichi Ramen. For broth, I'll give it an 8 because it had a really strong garlic flavor. It was good. It wasn't perfect, but definitely better than your average ramen broth. For the chashu, I'll give them a 7. It was good flavor, it was barbecuey, it was smoky. You could tell they actually put time and effort into making their chashu delicious. Spice wasn't really there initially, even though it says that it's a spicy bowl of ramen. I ended up adding more to it. I could have gotten crazy and actually added a whole lot, but I took it kind of tame this night. So for that, the fact that it wasn't really a spicy bowl to begin with, I'll give it a 7. The noodles, I'll give a 6. They were okay. They didn't really pull much of the flavor. They weren't anything special. As a matter of fact, they kind of had a weird, like, doughy flavor to them. I don't know exactly why that would be or what kind of noodles they use, but for that reason, I'll give it a 6. Other toppings, I'd give a 5. They weren't anything super special. They weren't terrible. So right smack down in the middle, I'll give them a 5. Overall vibe of the restaurant, I'd say a 7. Because it was a little bit dark, but still a comfortable atmosphere. It wasn't creepy. This leaves Tenichi Ramen with an overall score of 6.66.
One other thing before I let you go. I'm actually headed to Boston area for the weekend, and I don't come up here that often. I should be coming up here more, but I really don't come up as much as I should. If you have any recommendations for ramen shops in and around the Boston area, shoot them to me. I would appreciate it, because why not venture into another big city and get lost in search of noodles? I think it'd be fun. Plus, as much as I'm not a city kid, I think maybe my experience now in Brooklyn and New York better prepares me for an experience in Boston. So definitely, if you have some recommendations, shoot them my way. I'd appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button on my channel if you'd like to see more content like this. Like this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think about anything, really. I always like to get you guys' feedback. And as always, leave this world better than you found it. Take it easy.